you've seen me rank the best of the best NASCAR Cup Series schemes from the 2024 season, and I think we did a pretty good job with that. That said, though, we shied away from the worst schemes of the 2024 NASCAR Cup Series season, and I felt like we should rank those too, but to do that, I needed some help. I needed somebody who was going to rank these paint schemes fairly, harshly, and with 100% honesty, and that's why I brought in a paint scheme ranking pro who does this every single week on his awesome TikTok page with such cool content. That pro is none other than Tyler Pennell. Tyler's creative and comedic approach to paint scheme reviews has earned him over 36,000 followers on TikTok, racking up over 2.6 million likes in the eyes of the NASCAR teams and the drivers. He's the perfect person to help me rank the worst of the worst paint schemes of 2024. Tyler, how's it going?
It's going. Again, I'm nervous. Got this whole setup. I feel like I'm on The Price is Right or something.
It's all good. No wrong answers. It's all opinionated. I know you're full of opinions for these paint schemes. Where did that come from, by the way, the paint scheme ranking on TikTok that you do?
It was kind of my girlfriend. I would have her rank them every week because I was trying to get her into NASCAR. She wasn't really having it much, and she said, why don't you just review them yourself? I said, well, maybe I should do that. So I did it for a little bit, and it didn't really take off. But then everyone asked for it for the Daytona 500, and it kind of took off, and now I guess I'm here.
Let's just get into it. Starting off with Ross Chastain, the #1 jockey scheme. I chose the one from the Fall Richmond race with just the guy in his underwear on the car. Initial thoughts from this one from you?
I mean, I appreciate the creativity to kind of try something outside of the box, but maybe they should have just stayed in the box. Because I kind of like the idea, but it just doesn't look accurate enough for me.
No, it doesn't look accurate. It kind of looks like how far back like a Formula One driver would sit. Kind of like it doesn't feel like a stock car in a way. It's bizarre. I mean, again, I appreciate the creativity, but this is just weird. Even to that aside, the hood of this car also isn't great. I don't feel like the space is utilized as effectively as it could have been, and even if it is, just the spacing is weird for me. I will say, on this tier list, we are ranking them from F being the worst of the worst, that's at the top. At the bottom is A, meaning they're really not bad schemes. We were just left with no other option. For this scheme, though, Tyler, I'll kind of give you the honors of the first scheme here. Where do you think we should put it anywhere on the list?
Yeah, like you said, now I'm looking at the hood. I mean, the jockey is like, it's so far down on the hood, which just makes absolutely no sense.
No.
And it's just so bland. I'd probably say it's middle of the road.
I definitely agree. I think this is middle of the road. It's creative, but odd. C tier. Speaking of, I don't want to say bland schemes, because this is just your pretty standard scheme that you have for the Penske boys. We're on the #2 of Austin Cindric, the Libman Menards scheme that he ran at Martinsville. And I don't know if this is true for you, Tyler, but I associate these schemes more with Ryan Blaney, which is one of the reasons why I nominated this one. The second is I just don't like the green and the yellow together. It's like a color combo I just don't like.
Yeah, the green and the yellow isn't good. And then it also has that little like reddish orange stripe across the top. It's kind of, I don't know, and then the 2 just doesn't take up enough space compared to the 12. And like you said, it's more, the Menard scheme is more Blaney's than Cindric's. So it's not terrible. Like, it's just a Menard scheme. It's just pretty basic, pretty standard.
I think when trying to compare this to the Blaney schemes that we have that look similar to this, I don't think it compares as well because, I don't think the number fills up enough space on the side of the car. It's a basic scheme. It's not bad by any means. It's just, it's there. It's your standard. I don't want to say I'd put this at a C as well, but I'm thinking C for this one.
Yeah, I'm kind of thinking along the same lines.
So right now we are 2 for 2 in the C category. Moving on though to the #3 of Austin Dillon in the Dow Rivers Our Life paint scheme that he ran at Gateway. And I want to know your thoughts on just how the hood of the car is versus the rest of the car. Do you like that separation at all?
I can't stand that separation. When the top doesn't blend in at all with the sides, I just think that doesn't look very good at all.
Yeah, it's a weird separation, and The reason why I gravitated towards this scheme being my least favorite for Austin Dillon is I don't like the realistic water on the side of the car. I don't know what it is. It's like when you like have the rest of a design and then you post something like real on a car, I think it looks tacky. And this was just part of that for me. And also with the hood, even the separation, I don't like that, but it's so disorganized. Nothing has a good place. It's just they threw it on there to give their partner some love, which I can appreciate, but it looks bad. I think this is worse than C tier. I don't know if you agree with that though.
I definitely think it's worse than C tier. I would have appreciated it more if they just like went all the way and just decided to do the entire car like water or whatever they're trying to do here. That's 100%. The thing. I'm not even sure what they're trying to do.
They tried to do too much.
Yeah, I don't think it's worthy of F tier, but probably D tier.
Yeah, let's put it in D tier. It's not like egregiously bad to where I want to rip my hair out, but it's just about there. So D tier is where we will put the number 3 of Austin Dillon. Next up, we have Josh Berry's Texas A&M University scheme, and this was my pick. I like camo on a race car. I think it looks great. It's just, there was something about this one that I just didn't fully love. And I want to be clear though, there are some paint schemes in this list for some drivers that are on here because it was the worst of the rest. Lots of these drivers like Josh Berry, I think even too like the RFK cars, which we'll talk about in a little bit, there were no real bad paint schemes. And this kind of fit in that same category for me with Josh Berry. I don't love it, but I don't hate it. But what are your thoughts on this scheme?
I actually personally like it. I mean,
okay.
I think when I did the paint scheme review, it probably, I want to say it got either an 8 or a 9.
Oh, wow.
I mean,
okay.
I actually kind of like it. But like you said, I mean, there isn't much to choose from. I might have went with the overstock scheme just because it was ran so much and they put it on every one of their cars and it was just too much for me. But
That's fair.
Yeah, there just wasn't a lot to choose from.
This one, again, it's not bad. It's not bad. I'm okay with putting it in B or A, somewhere in there. I'll let you have the final say in that.
Honestly, I'd probably lean more towards B because
okay.
I'm kind of eyeballing it right now, and I think the A&M logo is up too high.
Ooh, yeah.
It doesn't line up with the number whatsoever, so I think that kind of knocks it back to the B tier.
Part of me wonders if they made that logo bigger on the side of the car and just centered it, if it would look better. But it does feel like it's way too high up. That's good enough reason for me to put it at B. We did mention with this scheme that it wasn't like bad per se. It was just the worst of Josh Berry's fantastic schemes this year. We also have the issue that there are some drivers that just don't have a lot of options to choose from in terms of schemes, which is kind of the issue we ran into with Kyle Larson with the number 5. We put the Valvoline scheme in there. However, well, I don't know what you think, Tyler. The scheme isn't bad.
No, it's not bad at all. For me, this would be one of the top paint schemes of the year, probably.
Really?
I mean,
okay.
It's not bad at all. I think it's automatic A tier.
I would agree. Automatic A tier. Would you say of all the Valvoline schemes in the past decade, is this one of your favorites?
I would agree with that. They just came out with a new one though, and I think they improved it.
That's true. I do like the new one. I feel like every year they're improving on it, and I don't know. I saw this scheme and I just really, really liked it. So I would agree. Definite A tier. No arguments there. I guess moving on. I picked the next scheme for Brad Keselowski, and I have reasons behind it. But this is the scheme that he had at Sonoma, the King's Hawaiian Minions paint scheme. I guess 2 questions. What do you think about King's Hawaiian, and what do you think about the Minions?
King's Hawaiian, I like their rolls. Now, when I went to Daytona, they had the activation for the pretzel bites. I went through expecting the best and received the worst.
Oh, God.
So incredibly dry. There's not enough water on planet Earth to choke down these King's Hawaiian pretzel bites. I'm just being honest. My fiance happens to be celiac, so she's not able to eat gluten. And she said, "Oh, how are the pretzel bites?" I said, "Emily, you are so lucky you're not able to eat these because this is terrible. This is a terrible experience." So that's kind of like, I'm one where if I have any sort of bad attachment or good attachment, that's going to kind of change my idea, my thoughts, my opinions on a paint scheme. I wasn't much of a fan of the King's Hawaiian, just regular paint scheme to begin with. And then adding that experience on top of it kind of ruined it for me. But I like the Minions. I like the Minions being involved in this, although I'm very late on the Minions thing. I just watched Despicable Me like last year. So I don't really understand it much.
This is fair.
But I do think it looks good.
So as much as you have a vendetta against the King's Hawaiian Pretzel Bites, I have a vendetta against the Minions. I remember watching Despicable Me for the first time. I liked the movie. I thought the Minions were annoying as crap. And then they just kept going with the Minion stuff. It became a joke in my family. Like, I think it was one time either we went to an arcade or something like that. One of my cousins, one of my siblings got like a little Minion figurine and just like put it in my room. And they were like, I know you think these are annoying, so here you go. And I'm like, okay. Awesome. So this became the thing. So I saw this car and I was like, oh my God, all the memories are flooding back. So that's why I picked this car, because I just don't like the Minions. That said, though, do you think there are redeeming qualities to this, though?
I love the Minion on the left rear taking a huge bite out of the tire. I mean, I think that's amazing. And then I'm kind of a fan when they do like an ombre effect. I think that's what they call it, you know?
Yeah, ombre. You got it. Yeah, I think it looks nice overall. I mean, my dislike of the Minions aside, and your dislike of the pretzel bites aside, this isn't an awful scheme. It's kind of a weird merging of two different things together, and I guess, promoting a movie on the car in this way is fine. Typically seeing like movies or TV shows on a car, like I love like the old Cartoon Network schemes, for instance. So this was it was fun. Even to some of the activation they did with this too was really cool. I think offline we had talked and mentioned the photo that they did at the track was super cool.
Yeah, that was really good with the crew in front of the car. Also, but I'm not really sure. I don't understand the correlation of the Minions and the rolls to begin with.
Oh, not at all.
It makes no sense.
No. This doesn't make sense. It's interesting enough. I like the ombre effect too, like you said. It does feel a little disjointed, though, when you have the King's Hawaiian on the front and then the Minions in the back. So part of me thinks B or C for this one. It feels a little cluttered when you think about it.
It would be in my personal A tier, but I'm okay putting it in B.
Okay.
Yeah.
Let's put it in B tier for now. At the end, as we always do for these tier lists, we'll go back and make some adjustments where we see fit. But I think putting Brad Keselowski's Minion King's Hawaiian car at B tier works for now. This scheme is busy. It's fun. It has some really cool companies on the car. We're going to a car that's a little bit more dull. What are your thoughts on the Spire cars as a whole?
Absolutely terrible. I appreciate the idea of having brand identity and kind of trying to run the same style of paint scheme, but the two lines, it's just like so minimal. It looks like something that you would create on clip art.
Ooh.
Yeah, and I actually had the competition director of Spire Motorsports, Ryan Sparks. He came up to me at Homestead while I was interviewing with John Hunter Nemechek, and he said, dude, I love your videos. I get such a kick out of you just absolutely tearing apart our paint schemes because they are awful. They're terrible. And that's the competition director of Spire Motorsports. Dang. So if he doesn't like them, if he thinks they're trash, then they have to be pretty bad. I mean, it's kind of like Hendrick used to always have those fluorescent numbers. They've obviously went away from that now. But so I understand what they're trying to do, but they're not succeeding.
No, it's very boring. I will say too, the color combination, I know this is more of a partner thing, like this is their branding. I just don't like the colors on this car either. They're just, ugh. I don't know how else to describe it just instead of ugh. But you are right, the two line thing is so basic. It feels minimal effort.
It kind of looks like the old Seahawks colors.
Oh my gosh, it does.
Which I don't think is a good thing.
I'm not going to unsee that. It's not a good thing. I can't unsee it now. Oh no. Where do you think this should go? Since you have a history of this scheme not liking the lines, where do you think it should go? I
think it's automatic F tier. I'm kind of hoping that we can bully them into changing this. That's kind of what I'm hoping for.
Let's put it in F tier then, because I think Spire can do so much better. I know they can. They have so many great people they're bringing into the organization. Their drivers are super talented. We need paint schemes to match, for the love of God. So automatic F tier, 100%. Speaking of F tier, the next scheme we're looking at has about the same color code as this one. I absolutely hate it. It is the Kyle Busch Zone Premium Nicotine Patches car. It was ran multiple times this year, and I really wish it wasn't because it looks bad. I'm very critical of this car. Are you the same way?
No, I'm absolutely the same way. But some people will defend this paint scheme with their life because they're just addicted to nicotine. I personally don't fall into that category, so I have no emotional attachment to Zone. But no, this is just a lot. I mean, it is a sight for sore eyes.
For me, it's an automatic F. I hate it. I don't want this in the field next year. And if they have it in the field, please, for the love of God, make it better. Can we put in an F? Is that okay?
Absolutely put in an F.
Thank you. Yeah, again, nothing against the sponsor. I want to be clear. This is nothing against the sponsor. I just want the design to be better. My goodness. We had two really busy designs back to back. Now we're moving on to a more basic design with Chase Elliott's NAPA scheme. We're going with the one that he ran for multiple races with the white base. How do you feel about the simplicity of this paint scheme?
It's kind of disappointing because you know what NAPA is capable of. They used to have very great paint schemes. Michael Waltrip. I mean, even Martin Truex had really great paint schemes and like the best commercials ever.
True.
But I'm not going to blame NAPA because I think what they're trying to do is match their driver's personality. And that is why this paint scheme is so bland.
Oh, my God.
Yeah, I'm going to catch a lot of heat for that. But that's okay.
That's okay. That's okay. We're here to judge and be opinionated. That's exactly what I brought you here to do. You're right. It's bland to fit the driver. So, in the lines, they don't do anything. I hated when they announced this scheme. The line in between, or I guess the lines in between the 9 and the NAPA on the side of the car. That looks gross. There's no point. No. It's just to fill space, and it doesn't work.
Serves no purpose. And then, even the blue lines that go all over the place, I just don't get it. I mean,
no.
At that point, just commit to having just a blank white car with a blue number.
This is true.
You know?
I would have much rather had that than this.
But this is another one. People defend this paint scheme with their lives.
I want to put this in F tier.
Honestly, I do want to put it in F tier.
Okay. Is there anything redeeming that would make it go into like D tier instead?
It is so bland. I'm trying to find something. You might have to help me out on this one.
I mean, I think the only thing it does right is just the NAPA logo is all over the hood, which is great, utilizing the space. But I just think everything it tried to do, it just feels incomplete.
It might almost be too boring to be an F tier.
That might be possible. Because here's the thing. With looking at the schemes that we have in F tier, one is way too busy to save it. One is so simple and you can tell it tried, but it's like it could have been way better and it wasn't. This one was just like, I don't know where you were going with it. Maybe a high D tier right now, and we potentially move it later, but I think that's going to work for now, depending on what else we get in F tier.
Yeah, we'll come back.
Because I think, the next scheme, I want to get your thoughts on this right off the bat. The Noah Gragson Rush Truck Center scheme that he ran for like the Clash Daytona, a few other races. I have a strong dislike towards this one. It goes off the same idea of minimal effort. But what's your take on this?
This thing is so terrible. The way this makes me feel, I can't describe on YouTube. Yeah, we'll just say it's just really depressing. I mean, it is just so sad. I look at it and almost shed a tear. It's so terrible.
Okay.
Yeah, it's supposed to look like their truck, but it's like Valvoline doesn't try to make their cars look like an oil filter because that would look terrible. So you don't have to make your car look like an ugly truck, you know?
100% agree. I think of this as like you just literally had a test car, a blank test car, and you put a sticker on it just because you're like, we need something on here, so here we go.
I don't like the big box logo next to the number. And then you have a little bit of writing on the quarter panel. It's just, it just looks like it was thrown on there.
Yeah, it kind of feels pointless. And then the way the writing is, how it's stacked, bothers me a lot. Like if you wanted that on the side of the car, you could have just done that and then did something different with like the rest of the side if there was empty space. But instead they threw it all together and it did not work. Where do you want to put this scheme?
I think it's automatic F tier. It's so
automatic
sad.
F tier. So disappointing. I don't want to see this scheme ever again in my life. Please get rid of it in some way, shape, or form. Moving right along from a simple scheme that made us mad to an even simpler scheme. I don't know if it's going to make us mad yet. How do you feel about like the number 11 scheme right here? The brakes plus it is simply just the text on the car and that is it. I don't know if that's worse than what we just saw or not.
It's everything that you would describe in a terrible paint scheme. It's one color and it's just words smack next to the number. We moved the numbers up to give it more space for cool designs and sponsors. I give them credit. You can read Brakes Plus. If you can't read that, you need to get a new prescription. But the other thing I really don't like about it is they put that sports clip on the quarter panel, and it is just so small.
It's tiny.
Puny. That looks like something off of NASCAR Heat.
Oh, the highest of not compliments ever.
Yeah.
I hate this. I mean, it feels like we got a sponsor so last minute we couldn't actually design anything creative and we had to come to the track with what we got. It gives the same vibes as like, again, test car, slapped a logo on it and we put it on the track. I will say, this scheme doesn't make me depressed for the fact that it's not gray. I don't know if that redeems it though from what I'm thinking is an F.
I kind of think the red saves it, but I kind of have a thing for red, you know?
Yeah, red on a race car is the best, like
Definitely.
hands down. Best color on a race car. So now I'm confused. Like, do we want to put it at like a high D, leaning into the F category, or a low F then? Because I do think the red helps it pop. Anything else, it would be awful. Truly awful.
I think it's probably a D. It's pretty similar to Chase Elliott.
We have benchmarkers here, and I will say, I mean, Chase Elliott's at least has lines, but the lines didn't do anything, but it's so plain. This one's same thing. It's super plain. Wasn't really trying to do anything special. It's just there. I say the 11 in the D category definitely works for now. We're going to kind of go back to a scheme that we talked about with Austin Cindric. This time we're talking about Ryan Blaney's number 12, Menards paint scheme. This one in particular, he ran at the Brickyard 400, kind of along the same lines with Cindric as we associate the Menards schemes more with Blaney. So I would think that would help where we would put this on the list, right?
Yeah, definitely. And just the size of the number makes it better. We kind of already touched on it.
If we're going to rate it kind of on the same basis as Cindric's, I would give it a B instead of a C, kind of move it up a tier.
Yeah, I would agree with that. Just because it's his.
It's his. Right. Okay, we'll do that for sure. That makes sense. All right. We're returning to a paint scheme that haunted us. Chase Briscoe's Rush Truck Center's scheme that he ran at Kansas, Texas, and other races too. We don't need to have a conversation about this one. Automatic F.
Yeah, put it to F. It's just too sad.
Here's the thing, we really tried to pick different paint schemes for each driver where there was no crossover. These were just so bad that we could not pick anything different. They're not good.
No,
at all.
Not at all. Yeah,
not at all.
I'm going to start crying. It's that.
We'll move on so you don't cry. Don't cry. Let's go into something that's like, for me, maybe equally as bad. I don't know. How do you feel about like the products being on the hood of the car? I kind of think about like the body armor being on the hood of like Ryan Blaney's cars, for instances. But what do you think about that?
I like it. And I mean, this 15 car, the sponsor logo and the item is really big. And I like that. The hood should have a massive logo that should take up almost the entire hood.
This one bothers me in the sense that I like that the product is on the hood, and the OCD part of me likes that it just fits perfectly in the center of the hood. I love that. You have the product displayed all across the car. It's cute, but it feels empty with the front of the car. And I don't know why that bothered me so much, but this isn't awful. It also, like, I don't know what else this reminds me of.
It reminds me of Bob the Builder, but the knockoff version. It's like the Walmart version of Bob the Builder.
Oh no.
Yeah.
That's not good. That's not good.
or it's kind of like a terrible Caterpillar scheme.
Okay. I can see that.
I could almost see that. If Cat decided, like, you know what? We're on our way out. Let's make something as boring as we possibly can. This is what they would have brought.
The boring nature of it, to me, puts it kind of in the middle of the road. But again, because the product is on it, I like how they've done the side of the car. I think the space is filled out pretty well there. It's just the hood for me that kills the scheme. Let's put the scheme at D. It's not super overwhelming. It's not super underwhelming, but there's just enough about it that we don't like that flips it over the middle line there from C to D. How do you feel about the 16 paint schemes this year? Because I think they were actually pretty decent overall.
No, there were some really good ones. The spicy chicken, the Wendy's spicy chicken car was probably the
let's go.
Probably the brand placement. Wendy's sponsor me. That's probably the greatest paint scheme I've ever seen in my life. I mean, so good. I really love that one, but this one is kind of underwhelming.
It is. Yet knowing what Colleague and that 16 team has done this year with their schemes, and then seeing this, obviously this is not a Wendy's paint scheme, so we're not expecting anything like above and beyond, but this just felt really plain to me. It's the CarBravo scheme. It was run by Dillon at New Hampshire Motor Speedway. The redeeming quality I will give it is it didn't just have like simple lines. Like the white kind of looks like you have like a paintbrush stroke on the front of the car, which I think is kind of cool. It is visually pleasing enough, but then like when you get to the side of the car, it kind of feels disjointed in a way. But I think the white outline on the number just kind of brings it together at least. But it is very plain. There is a lot of empty space on here.
Yeah, it's not terrible, but it's not good either. It's just kind of meh.
Middle of the road. I think. Would that be like a C tier? Middle of the road?
I think it's a perfect C.
Beautiful. Again, not bad, not great, but you know.
I will say I'm also not like the biggest fan of when the logo is sideways.
I hate it too. I don't like it.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a way to try to fill the empty space. I'd much rather maybe just have them have the empty space as opposed to slanting the logo because it just looks odd.
Yeah, you kind of have to like look at the car like this.
Yeah. You have to like tilt your head and be like,
CarBravo. Oh. Okay.
Yeah. Otherwise, I couldn't read it. You know? Yeah. I will say I think the scheme would have been better if the name of the company was not tilted. I think I would have liked it a little bit better. But yeah, not one of the best paint schemes for the 16, but they can't all be winners. But apparently with the RFK schemes, they can all be winners because they were all super good. Except, in my opinion, for the Fastenal scheme. It's not bad. It's not bad. Before y'all come after me, it's not bad. But compared to everything else we got this year, I was like, it feels too separated from the hood to the back. I don't know. Do you agree with that or no? I feel bad saying that. Okay, no?
No, not at all. I mean,
okay.
This is one of the best paint schemes of the year, I think.
No.
But like you said, I mean, RFK, they don't have bad paint schemes, and especially Chris Buescher.
This is true.
Out of the other ones he ran, I guess I would agree with you that this is the worst one. I mean, like the Build Submarines car is awesome. I love that one.
It's so good.
The TA one is awesome. He doesn't have bad paint schemes.
Compared to everything else wonderful they had this year, this just feels so plain. It feels in line with where we had the 16 car to me, which I know is blasphemy, but it feels the same way. I'm sorry.
Oh, that's crazy.
I'm sorry.
That's insane. But that's okay. We all have our opinions. Yours is wrong, but I mean, that's okay.
It's okay. I will gladly accept that my opinion is completely wrong. And to RFK and Chris Buescher in particular, I'm so sorry I disrespected this paint scheme. To all the Buescher fans out there, I apologize. I cannot. I don't think this one's an A. I can't put it at an A.
I think it's definitely an A. And then I mean, just look at the product placement on the nose where they put the Fastenal bam, bam, bam on all corners of the hood.
Yeah.
You know?
Because I think they were one of the first teams to really do that and be like, oh, this is space that we can actually use. And they were really smart with it. I'll give it an A for innovation.
Okay.
That's what I'll do. I'll be okay with an A for the fact that it is a Chris Buescher paint scheme and there is some innovation in there with where the Fastenal was on the very front of the hood. I'll put it there. Moving on. Next up we have Martin Truex Jr.'s number 19 Racers paint scheme. And this fits the kind of the same thing we said about the Rush Truck Center scheme, where it's just like a rectangle by the number. And that's kind of boring.
Yeah, it's just thrown together. Then you got, I don't like when they have like the contingencies at the back. Like they did away with contingencies, which is terrible. But then they kind of like try to add them past the Reasers.
It just makes it feel disjointed. And again, I know that's kind of a product of you moving the numbers forward. There's really a lack of space for those contingency sponsors. But I still just think it looks clunky. I will say the logo all across the hood looks great with this car. I'll give it that. but you look at the side of the car and you're like, that's just a lot going on.
It is a lot.
I actually don't know where to put this one. It's definitely not an F tier. It's not an A tier. It's somewhere in the middle here. I just don't know where it would be. I like the colors on this car. I will say that. The red, black, and white look fantastic. So I'm a little biased towards that, but I don't know where I'd put it.
I think it probably slots in at C tier.
I'm okay with C. It doesn't, again, I don't have strong reactions to it. There's just some things here and there that we don't like. So we'll go C tier with that one. Now, with his teammate Christopher Bell, I had a different pick for his worst paint scheme, but you were very adamant on the Rheem paint scheme. Tell me why.
This is the worst paint scheme of all time. Let's just get that out of the way.
All time?
All time. There's nothing worse. This is just a perfect example of the number and then the logo and then absolutely nothing at all. They tried with their little wavy through the door, and they tried. All they had to do was put Rheem.com on the quarter panel, and it would have been just a perfectly fine scheme, like, probably like a 7, maybe an 8, maybe a 6. But this is just terrible. Again, they moved the number forward to put more sponsorship on the back, and they said, nah, it's okay. No, don't worry about it. We'll just keep it blank. It's terrible. Worst ever.
Oh my God. Okay. Worst ever feels very, very strong. But I know I see where you're coming from. There's so much wasted space on the quarter panel. It's kind of upsetting. It follows the same category as it's like a shape by the number with the logo on it. It feels very basic. There is a lot of wasted potential here. I love the lines on the car, though. The swoop, I guess I'll call it. You want to put this in F?
It's
is that what you're thinking?
F. I think automatic gosh. F, like no questions asked. It's completely awful.
For me, the redeeming quality is the swoops. That brings it for me from like an F to a D, but because you are so strong about this one, I am 100% okay putting this in F out of respect. We're going to put it in F.
The swoops to nothing. Almost saved it from the F. Yeah, the swoops are really nice. It's like Curry pulling up from 3 and he just completely airballs it. There's not even a rim to hit, but it saves it. Okay.
Yeah. We're going to put it in F. It deserves it at this point. You sold it.
Yeah.
It's an F. All right. Moving on. Again, the same issue we had with the Hendrick Motorsports drivers. There is not a lot to choose from for Harrison Burton, but when there is a bad paint scheme for him, in my opinion, it's bad or mid. This one, the Menards Master Force scheme that he ran at Iowa, it has redeeming qualities. I will say this. I like the neon number. I think that looks great. But the hood is what I get really lost with. I don't know. Do you like the hood of the car?
Not at all.
Okay.
No, it's like a 5-gallon bucket of paint got dropped on the hood and they just let it kind of go wherever. Or that's honestly, I think the car was at speed and it was probably following a truck full of paint and a 5-gallon bucket actually fell off.
Okay.
And he ran into it. That's how it gets that effect, like going into the numbers.
Okay, that's exactly what happened. 100% on record. Exactly. I can see it though. It does look kind of like you had a bucket of paint just splattered on the nose of the car. I will say the green on this though. I know it's a brand thing for the sponsor, but I really do like the green with the neon like yellow green. To me, it's aesthetically pleasing. Again, the contingency sponsors at the back feel a little cluttered, but they did fill the space. Part of me almost feels, and this might be like a hot take, that the cars would be better without those contingency sponsors there. Specifically this one too. If you just had the empty space, I think it would have been fine if you just brought the paint splatter from the hood more back. I don't know if you feel the same though.
They could keep the contingencies, but maybe just not as many of them. I mean, it kind of like, they just took every sponsor they had and threw them all on there.
By the way, we appreciate them for sponsoring Harrison Burton in the 21 car.
Absolutely.
Say that, but there are too many. It looks cluttered. I'm thinking B, but I don't know if that's too, I guess low on this list for this scheme. Do you agree with that or no?
I mean, looking at the other ones that we have in B, I don't think it's as good as the other ones. I'm thinking C.
So C tier is where we will keep this. The next paint scheme, you and I agree on 1000%. This scheme sucks. It's the Hunt Brothers scheme for Joey Logano. It's no effort. What are we doing with these no effort paint schemes? I'm sorry, I hate it. I hate it.
This one's actually pretty similar to the Rheem scheme. I mean, they try to put like a little bit of a swoop or something. And it just goes to nothing again. It's just green car, sticker, go ahead.
I was so disappointed when this scheme came out. I was like, you could have done something really cool, like a pizza slice. I don't know, like they did with like the Casey scheme that they had with Kyle Busch. This automatic F tier. I'm mad at this one.
No, absolutely. And then they came out with the red one. Which
not better.
Was exactly the same. They took everybody's advice, everybody's opinions, and threw them right in the garbage, and just 100%. Came out with the same thing.
Penske can do good schemes. We've seen it. Sometimes they're more mid than good schemes. This one, though, was so far awful. I want them to reassess this in 2025, and I don't think they will. But yeah, the red scheme wasn't any better. Automatic F for this one, for sure. No, good pick. Really bad scheme. Moving on, though, to the number 23. Now, my question to you is, do you think Bubba had any bad schemes this year? Because I thought they were all, I guess, okay. They were all pretty decent.
Yeah, they're okay. This was one that you picked because I honestly couldn't make a choice.
Ooh, okay.
I don't think he really had any terrible ones. Nothing that stuck out to me.
Yeah, this one stuck out to me for the reason of the fish scales. I just think it's gross on the car. I will give it the fact that they tried to do something unique here with a different base, not just a plain white base or a teal base on the car. They actually tried to be creative with it, which is cool. But I just think it looks kind of weird considering the other schemes that Columbia ran this year that I thought were pretty good. Even too, you look at some of the Jordan schemes that I thought were awesome this year, and this just didn't really do it for me. I
actually really like it.
Really? Okay.
Yeah, we're kind of on opposite ends here. I think it's really creative, and I saw it in person.
Okay.
Yeah, it looked good underneath the lights. It really did. And also, the weekend that he ran this was in Daytona, and that was the weekend that my fiance did the paint scheme review, and she chose this one as the paint scheme of the week. So I guess I have a little bit of a connection to it.
Yeah. Okay, I think because you were able to see this one in person, because there are some paint schemes that I think look better in person than they do in photos. And because she ranked this one as the best paint scheme of the week, I am okay if you want to put this at B or A.
I think it's deserving an A.
We'll put it at A. I think I will give it that it is creative. It's very different. Like fish scales on a car, like you don't see that really ever, if not a lot. So yeah, I'll give it A for creativity. Next car, we've already seen a Valvoline scheme. Already seen one. This one was just kind of disappointing though. It's William Byron's Valvoline scheme. It has the gray base. It just really mutes it. You have an example of what Valvoline could do, and then you have this. Do you like the gray base on this one or no?
Absolutely not. I mean, this is everything good they did with the Larson scheme, they did bad with this one.
Larson's scheme is an A tier. It was a very clear A tier. Do you feel this one is a step behind that in B, or do you think it would go farther into C?
I think farther into C. Just a gray base is that's not a good start for a paint scheme at all.
I agree. It mutes the entire thing. I also don't like the gray base with the white number. I think that's not enough contrast to make the number stick out. We all know it's the 24. We get it, but it's just a color thing. I don't know. And then I don't like the bottom of the car too. Like the Z, the HP, the Z on the side by the rear tire, the way the Z sticks up from the red on the car. Yeah. I don't know why that bothers me either, but it's like you have a perfect place for that and it's just not fitting. At least maybe raise the red or just shrink the Z a little bit. But yeah, I think C tier for this one makes a lot of sense. It had so much potential, just didn't live up to it. Next up, this scheme actually is not that bad. Daniel Hemrick did not really have bad schemes this year. They were more on the basic side of things. But this one I got to see in person, and I gravitated towards it instantly. It's his high point paint scheme from the fall Martinsville race. It's just the colors on this are so aesthetically pleasing. It's creative. There's different textures on this. What did you think of this one when you saw it?
I love this one when I saw it. This one actually won a Paint Scheme of the Week award when it ran.
Oh, nice. Okay.
Yeah, I'm a painter in my day-to-day life too, so it kind of...
Oh, sweet. Okay.
Yeah, it kind of touches home a little bit.
So for that reason, and just for the aesthetic, I guess the aesthetically pleasing car that this is, I think automatic A tier. Yeah. It is a really pretty car. And again, you see a lot of cars that might promote like paint or something like that be pretty basic or just have like the paint splatter, which this does. But I like how you have the swatches and it's really fun and playful and everything kind of has a good place on it. So definite A tier there for Daniel Hemric. And this is when we go downhill because we have Michael McDowell's patriotic scheme. It's a Walmart car. He ran at the Coke 600. First off, patriotic schemes. What are your thoughts on those that they run for the 600? Who do you think has the best patriotic schemes in general every single year? I hope you say the right answer here.
The best patriotic paint, probably RFK.
Thank you. Okay, cool. Yeah. We're on the same page.
Yeah. If you're not bringing a patriotic paint scheme to the Coke 600, then I don't think that they should even be allowed to put the car out on the track.
Facts.
And again, if you're not patriotic enough, which I don't think this paint scheme is,
no.
I don't think you deserve to be on the track either.
This is true. You have this one race where it's like, hey, patriotic schemes, and sure, you can run one for like maybe Labor Day, or you can run one for, of course, the 4th of July or like the Chicago Street Course. But this is really the time where you are honoring our nation's heroes. Be more patriotic. My goodness. With this scheme, they tried with the Walmart branding. And it just feels, it's disappointing.
It's just not enough. It's just eh.
It really feels like the patriotic part of the scheme is truly an afterthought. There's nothing more to it.
I would compare it to Puerto Rico because it's like, it's technically like part of the United States. So, like kinda in a way, like they try to be patriotic. Maybe this is a terrible analogy. I'm not sure.
I want to know where you're going with this.
Yeah, I really dug deep into the bag for this one. It sounded good, and I'm just gonna go with it. But
go for it.
Yeah, no, it's like Puerto Rico because, well, I'm not sure why it's like Puerto Rico. This is going off the rails. This is really bad.
It's okay.
Yeah, you should almost keep this though.
I want to keep this in the edit. I'm going to keep this in the edit.
Yeah.
This scheme is so off-putting to us. We couldn't make the right analogy for this. That's how we're going to phrase this here.
Yeah.
However, I don't think it's an automatic F tier though. I would put it in D. Maybe.
Yeah, it's not an F tier. It's not. Yeah, it's just kind of eh.
With this car, at least they tried to do something patriotic, and I will say maybe they got kind of the brakes put on them because of the branding for Walmart. So I'm going to give them benefit of the doubt, and I will put this in D tier. Moving on to the number 38. I feel bad that I put this one in this list because I know a lot of people really do like this car. It's the Grillo's Pickles car that Todd Gilliland ran for multiple races. I think you saw this one in person, right?
I did see this one in person at the Summer Daytona race. It was actually the first race for my buddy's girlfriend, and she gravitated to this car so quickly, which is kind of odd. I think, it's kind of odd. Of all the cars you chose to go with, she went with the pickle car. Immediately wanted to go down to the haulers, get a t-shirt, get a die cast, the whole nine.
Wow.
Of course, they don't have a Grillo's pickle car die cast or t-shirts because, why would they? They're like brand new to the sport.
Fair.
But it did work because I did buy a thing of Grillo's pickles at Costco.
Okay.
And they're not the greatest. I had a couple of them. They did make me buy them, but I probably won't have to ever buy them again because they're just going to sit in the fridge.
On the positive for this, their branding in this car did what it was supposed to make you do. It was supposed to make you feel loyal to the brand. It was supposed to make you feel intrigued and go out and buy the product. And that's what it did. And I think not a testament to the paint scheme, but to the branding of the company itself with the pickle mascot. Like it's really cool. It's fun. Like, heck, I would want a t-shirt of this too, just to be like artsy and stuff. Like, it's fun. I think even just to go back to the car itself, the side of the car with the pickle car, like the font of that, I think is really playful. If it does its job and gets people to buy the products, I guess a fun car to see riding around the track. I think they also did a pretty good job with like the activation they had with this partner. I consider this car a win. Again, I don't think he had really awful paint schemes this year. I think a lot of Todd's were more basic than this was. Would this be an A? I feel weird putting this at an A, but would it be an A?
I don't know if it's A, because I feel like they could have done a little bit better. I don't really agree with the white hood. I think they should have just committed to all green.
I will say the hood is really weird on this. I think you want the logo or the mascot on the hood. I get that. But I kind of think you maybe could have done something different. I would agree. I think the hood kind of lets this down a little bit. With that said, are you thinking B or C for this one?
I'm thinking B, because it did work. I mean, I did buy the pickles.
It did work. We'll give it that. Again, really cool company. Like, I like the vibe of this company. But yeah, there are some qualities that will knock it down to a B, which is pretty good. I mean, again, Todd Gilliland didn't really have that many bad schemes this year. And I would actually say the same for Ryan Preece. I think a lot of his schemes were pretty solid this year. It just so happens that this one that he ran at Sonoma just kind of didn't hit the mark all the way, but it wasn't, I mean, I don't think it was awful, right?
No, it wasn't awful. It was just okay. And then they ran kind of the same, it was the same colors and design. It was just like a different winery at Homestead, but they added a wine bottle, which I thought like,
oh, that's cool.
Really, it made it a little bit better. It's just kind of mid.
Yeah, I think for this one, if we're thinking it's mid, I'm thinking C tier, but do we feel like it's a little better than C tier?
It might be worthy of B tier. When you look at the ones that are in C tier, I definitely think it's better than Truex, for sure.
I agree. I think for this one too, it does utilize the space effectively as best as it can. I do like that it has like a designated space for the contingency partners by the rear wheel. They don't go above the I guess maroon, red, whatever color it is. Like it feels contained in the right way. And even too, they even use the very front piece of the hood to put like anniversary on there, which I think, again, effective use of space. I would say definitely a B for this one. Okay, there's some backstory with you and John Hunter Nemechek. I want to know the story. So why do you single out the 42 every single week?
So there's a backstory to both sides here. There's a backstory for John Hunter Nemechek and there's a backstory for Legacy. So as far as Legacy Motor Club goes, when I started the paint scheme reviews this year, the first race, Jimmy Johnson ran, they put all their paint schemes up. I reviewed them, fair, whatever. Then after that, they just started falling off. Like they would not post them. I would get all my paint schemes from NASCAR.com. And if they're not on there, then I have to start searching for them. And I don't feel like I should have to.
No, that's a lot of work.
Yeah, I had to start searching for them. And I said, Legacy, if you're not going to put your paint schemes on NASCAR.com, if you don't care enough, then I'm going to care either. And they just didn't. So I gave them zeros every week. The only time that they would put all the paint schemes on NASCAR.com was when Jimmy Johnson was running, which was kind of, I guess I get it.
Yeah.
But so they got zeros. We had like a beef. That's over now because they brought me out to Homestead and I met the crew, super nice. And again, I can't remember the guy's name, but he took over as like the social media guy for Legacy. And I said, dude, I got to tell you, like, you guys got zeros all year because somebody just wasn't doing their job. Like, whose job is it to put the paint schemes on NASCAR.com? And he said, well, that's actually my job. I said, well, dude, you sucked at your job for like half of the year. And he said, well, no, that wasn't me. That was the other guy that left. So, oh, okay. So, I forgive Legacy. They're great over there. As far as John Hunter Nemechek goes, this is a long saga. I used to be a big fan when he ran for his dad in the Nemco days with Chevy.
Oh.
He had a fan club. It was like $19.99, maybe $24.99. You got a shirt, a cup, and like a letter from his mom or something, or his grandma.
Whoa.
Yeah, it was kind of weird. I actually have the cup on my nightstand. It's just full of crap.
Okay.
So I've been using it. This has been going on probably 10 years now. So I really like John Hunter Nemechek. He made it all the way to the Cup Series, failed miserably at front row, and then went back down to trucks. And that kind of started falling off. But the real dagger was the first truck race at Atlanta under the new configuration. I had a bet down. This is when my gambling began.
Oh.
Yeah, this is where the gambling addiction started. The week before, when I bet on Zane Smith to win at Daytona and I won my first bet, I said, I'm good at this. It's been downhill ever since. Anyway.
Oh, no. Gamble responsibly.
Yeah, exactly. I had a bet on Ben Rhodes, and Ben Rhodes was up front for pretty much the whole race. So was John Hunter Nemechek. But with, I don't know, 20 to go, something, he blows a tire, hits the wall, whatever. He pits under green. He goes lap down. Well, he goes back out there. He's just riding around. And the leaders catch up to him. And Corey Haim's in the lead, his buddy from KBM. And instead of just pulling over, you're already a lap down. You're about to go 2 laps down. He decides to let Corey go by. And then he gets in line and he just plays blocker for the rest of the race. So I had all that money on Ben Rhodes to win. And then last lap, Ben Rhodes goes into 3 to try to pass Corey Haim. And John Hunter Nemechek played blocker. He kind of pushed him up wide. And Corey Haim won his first race. And I missed out on $800. So I was pretty upset. So since then, I've had a vendetta with John Hunter Nemechek. But he had me out to Homestead after he saw my videos. And I guess enjoyed the way I made fun of him. So he had me out so I could interview him and make more fun of him.
Oh.
So I have to appreciate him for that. He was kind of cool, but I'm kind of keeping it a secret of how I'm going to play this one out for the reviews next year.
Okay, lips sealed. We're waiting for 2025 to see, because this has been a saga on your social media that I was like, this guy just does not like John Hunter Nemechek at all. But it was really cool to see them like bring him out to the track and hear like how good of an experience that was. Legacy Motor Club is awesome, especially the 42 team. I've gotten to work with them before with the pit crew, and they're all fantastic. So good to hear that was a good experience for you. Meanwhile, though, this paint scheme, I'll let you lead off with this one. The contingency sponsors at least are weird. That's the only thing I'm going to say, but I want your full honest opinions on this scheme.
So I was hard on them all year. I gave them zeros regardless, but they did have good paint schemes. This doesn't fall underneath that category. This is terrible. This is as bad as they come. This car is Chick Hicks in real life.
Oh my God.
It's just loaded up with stickers.
It's true.
Just absolutely ridiculous.
Even like the hood, like I can appreciate they use the side of the hood for like additional partnerships. And I will say like the black and like that bright blue does look really good, but it's the back of the car that just loses it for me. It's not good.
Yeah, all hell breaks loose on the back. It looks like an old fridge. It looks like a fridge you'd put out in your garage and you just, I got a new magnet. Throw the magnet on there. It's just full of magnets.
Okay, I see that, and now I can't unsee it. It does look like an old refrigerator, and I hate it even more. Again, the colors on this car look fantastic. It really does. And then how the gold trim on the bottom goes into the gold trim on the numbers. Like, there's so much potential here, and it just falls flat on his face, which is so frustrating. I'll give you the honors. Where should this scheme go on the list?
F tier.
All right. I agree with that. I could have given it some grace, but it's not redeemable. There's so much potential that was just wasted. Meanwhile, for his teammate Eric Jones, I would say this game is actually not awful. It's Macy Motor Freight. It's the fall Vegas race scheme that he ran. This one I think is clearly better than John Hunter Nemechek's, but I guess what are the redeeming qualities of this one that would take it away from like somewhere high on this list?
I like the blue on it. The blue is great. The biggest problem is that the Massey or Macy, whatever, it's just like too contained to one spot. I wish they could have like kind of blown it up and put it down the quarter instead.
Oh yeah.
But it's not bad. Eric just didn't really have bad paint schemes, and he didn't run a lot of different ones.
Yeah, all like the Family Dollar schemes that he ran this year, all those like looked great. I think this one altogether looks awesome. I do think like how, I guess, frail I'm gonna say the font is for the Massey on the hood. It blends into the white a little too much where it's hard to read. And I will agree with you, like I do wish it was just like the main name of the company just enlarged and like put all over the quarter panel of the car. I will say as a positive, the contingency sponsors are contained to just the bottom portion of the car, which is a huge plus. I would think this one would go into B tier.
Yeah, it slots good in B.
Question for you. How do you feel about McDonald's?
I mean, I eat McDonald's breakfast probably way more than I should.
Yep, it's good. McDonald's breakfast is good. I know, we showed the Wendy's loyalty there a few cars ago, rightfully so. But we like McDonald's breakfast. Do we like McDonald's on a race car? And with this pick for Tyler Reddick, the answer is no. You picked this one. Why was this one your least favorite of all of Tyler Reddick's?
Well, first of all, it had a costume to go along with it, which was just completely goofy. I feel like everybody knows that Ronald McDonald has some of a gang. We know of Grimace, but I didn't know that he had a whole Brady Bunch of other characters. Yeah, I was completely confused with this one. I had no idea who the Hamburglar was.
What? That's deep McDonald's. It's like the Avengers of McDonald's. It literally is. Oh my gosh. Okay.
I didn't keep up with those movies, I guess. I missed Avengers McDonald's Endgame. Yeah.
Was it really the costume that threw you over the edge with this one? Or is it the scheme is busy. It's very busy.
It looks like a zebra or a ref or a Foot Locker employee. It kind of follows all those lines. You can't really even see the number.
No, the number just fades into it because, again, I like being creative with just the base of a paint scheme instead of just a plain white, a plain black, something like that. I can appreciate that, but this is almost too distracting, and maybe that's the point. Maybe you want to blind your competitors on the track. You never know. It's kind of gross. It's kind of ugly. It's too much.
It's pretty bad, but I don't think that his regular McDonald's scheme was any good either.
No. Wait, which one are you talking about? The ketchup one?
The one with the ketchup going down. It looks like blood.
That paint scheme I had as my favorite for Reddick's of this year. And my best of the best tier list. I love it so much. I thought it looked really cool.
I can't believe that. Out of all the ones, that's what you picked?
I just thought it was really creative because I was like, oh, it's ketchup, super cute. And it was clean. And it looked like the ketchup, kind of glistened on the car. And the color chrome version of that car? Or what is it? I forget the die-cast version of that car, but where the red sparkles, it looked so good. And I wish I would have gotten it. But yeah, I really like that scheme.
Wow, I'm amazed by that. No, it just looks like blood. It looks like Ronald McDonald went bad. He turns that clown craze or whatever there 2016 when they're holding knives on the side of the road. Yeah, no, it's bad. And I have a severe fear of needles, which kind of pairs well with the blood thing. So no, that's just a train wreck. I can't believe that was your favorite one.
Man, okay, well, I can at least understand part of the dislike towards that scheme. I can understand that as a fellow needle fearer myself. I get that. But it wasn't that bad. I mean, this is clearly, to me, worse. Well, to me, it's worse than this. Or this is worse than that, I should say. This scheme is way worse than the Michigan win, in my opinion. But, I will give it. It's creative.
Yeah, it's still terrible. It's still terrible. Yeah.
F tier?
I think it's F tier.
Yeah. It's creative. I get it. It's the Hamburglar. It's on brand. But that is so busy. But we'll move on to a scheme that's not a little less busy. It's a lot less busy with Ricky Stenhouse Jr.'s Colgate Philadelphia whipped cream cheese scheme. And this is the two worst partners you could have on the car at once. Toothpaste and cream cheese. That's gross. I don't want that on the car at the same time. But it's not a bad scheme. It's just, I just did not like the partnership pairing here.
Yeah, no, it'd be kind of it'd be like pairing M&Ms and Tide Pods. I mean, it kind of doesn't go together at all. But there's nothing necessarily wrong with the paint scheme, though.
No, I think the paint scheme looks pretty good. And I think you had mentioned at one point or another, too, it kind of reminded you of the Tylenol scheme that he'd had, which was actually pretty decent.
Yeah, so, no, I like that one. He ran it at Sonoma, and he might have won the paint scheme of the week that week.
Really?
I did like that one a lot, which it's basically the same colors, but just, like you said, the combination is terrible.
Yeah, combination of partners is bad, but if we're judging off of just the scheme itself, it is, in my opinion, aesthetically pleasing in the sense of how everything's formatted. I think the number on the hood definitely pops, in my opinion. For me, I feel like, to me, I'm going to make a comparison. You're going to hate me for this. It's on par with the Chris Buescher paint scheme for me, which means it's an A.
Oh, okay. All right.
But in terms of simplicity, I just like totally destroyed all the Chris Buescher fans out there. I'm so sorry. I take it back.
Oh, okay.
I take it back. I would say this one though is an A, just because it's not bad. It's simple.
Yeah, I guess I could agree with that. Yeah, and it says Happy Halloween on it. I didn't notice that.
Oh, that's cute. Well then, hold on a second though. It says Happy Halloween, but there's nothing Halloween about this scheme.
Yeah, no, this just took a turn for the worse.
Oh, no.
Yeah, terrible.
Oh no.
If you're gonna acknowledge Halloween, there has to be something Halloween on the car. Yeah, no, this can't be an A tier.
I want to do something crazy with this because it's acknowledging Halloween, but there is nothing Halloween about this. Do we put it in F? Because I think that's egregious.
Yeah, that's pretty bad. Yeah, that's like a sin.
This is awfully going to be an F. This could have been an A. This was ready to be an A, but you mentioned Halloween and you do nothing with it. Took a turn for the worse.
Took a bad turn. Took the words right out of my mouth.
All right, well, I guess we'll get to a better scheme then. This is the number 48, the Ally Best Friends scheme, and I picked this one as the worst simply because of the cat and dog photo on the car. But I should be clear. One, it's just because I don't think it fits on the car. I love cats and dogs. Two, like we said earlier, Hendrick Motorsports, at least with Alex Bowman, didn't really have any bad schemes, and he didn't have a lot of schemes to choose from the worst of the worst. What are your thoughts on this scheme for Alex Bowman?
Well, you heard it here first. Taylor Kitchen, she hates cats and dogs. Anyway, but
false.
Yeah. No, I mean, no, they don't. It doesn't fit on the car at all. Just it's like kind of animated, the rest of the car, and then they put these real life animals on there. It doesn't really fit at all. And the other thing is, the best friends, you don't even really see it.
No.
It kind of blends in too much.
Yeah, the best friends blends into the background. Same with the Ally on the hood. It's really hard to see with the paw prints on the car, which I think is really cool. I love that. I just wish there was some way to make the logos pop out more. And I don't know if that's putting a border around that. I really don't know. But it just, I don't know. It's really cute, but there are some things about this that draw it away from an A tier for me. I think it's a B going into A. I think all things considered, because I like the idea.
Yeah, no, they could have executed it a little better. So it's not deserving of A. Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's almost there.
Okay, we'll put it at the end of the B tier going into A, because again, it had a strong foundation here. I just think there were some things that could have been tweaked to make it any better, really. But for the next scheme, the number 51 for Justin Haley, there was nothing that could have been made better about this, in the sense that the scheme on its own was not good. This is what Michael McDowell's probably would have been if it wasn't patriotic. It's just not good.
Yeah, it's just boring.
Yeah, it follows the same principle that you said earlier about the two swoops on the car. Same thing with the Christopher Bell paint scheme, essentially. Is this follows the same path, except Walmart is at the very top of the car, not smack dab in the middle.
You kind of struggle to find something to even say about it because there's just nothing there.
If I am going to say it's on par with Christopher Bell's scheme, it's a definite F.
And definitely McDowell's is better.
100%. It is
for sure.
By far the better scheme. I agree 100%. Yeah. This one definitely is worthy of an F. And in my opinion, I think the next one is too. We talked about having movies on a car, and we both like having movies, TV shows on a car. I don't know how well this one is done. You saw this in person. I talk about what it looked like in person compared to the photos, because I feel like it's awful regardless. Honestly.
No, yeah, it looks just as bad in person as it does in photos, and it was everywhere I looked. Every time I turned around, there was a Ronald Reagan car. Ty Gibbs had one, Joe Graff Jr. had one in the Xfinity Series, and for whatever reason, they decided that wasn't enough. They even added a show car in the fan zone.
Oh, incredible. Man, marketing budget galore.
Yeah, they spent, I don't know if the movie was any good. I don't know what it did at the box office. Obviously I didn't go see it, but no, they definitely spent some money on marketing.
Yeah, I don't know if it worked. In this scheme too, I get Dennis Quaid as the star of the movie. I get it. I really do. But having him on the car 3 times, is that necessary? Do we need that? I don't think so. Like, I honestly think you either keep him on the hood or you just keep him on the side of the car. Like, I think he's a good, I guess his image is good to have on the side of the car because it does fill space, but on the hood, you could have maybe done something different with it. I don't know. It doesn't work. It feels busy in all the wrong ways.
Yeah, and I mean, I will kind of give him the benefit of the doubt, because what do you do with a Ronald Reagan car?
This is very true.
I mean, you're kind of limited, I guess. So you just put the movie poster on it and be done.
Yeah, it's kind of an impossible task to, I think, make this work. And I think they did the best they could, all things considered. It's just still not there. Where would you put this? I'm curious.
I think it's F tier.
F tier? Yeah, part of me feels a little too harsh putting it in F tier, knowing that this probably wasn't Joe Gibbs Racing's want to have this car look this way, just knowing how they have designed their other cars, which granted one of them is in F tier right now, and the rest of them are pretty high on the list. That said, though, yeah, I think this one is a definite F tier. It did not work. So we talked about the Spire cars and how we're not big fans of them, but I will say, I think Zane Smith's cars were the best of this whole bunch. This one, back and forth about this Jockey outdoor scheme with the guitar. I think this is what Luke Bryan. I like country music, so this was kind of cool to have on the car. But it feels busy. Do you feel like this is busy in a bad way, though?
The hood is really busy.
Yeah.
But I like the side. I love the guitar going down the side. I feel like they really fit the left rear really good inside of the guitar.
Yeah, I think that looks really good with the left rear and the side of the guitar. I will say the hood is very, very busy. It really is. But the guitar on the side is a really good touch. And I'm realizing right now, I didn't realize this before, but the end of the guitar actually wraps around to the nose of the car too. It's not just on the side, it wraps all the way around, which I think is pretty cool. So I'll give it that.
Oh yeah.
They tried with this one.
Huh. And he finished second in this car.
This is true.
It's not a Spire paint scheme. It's a Trackhouse paint scheme.
This does scream Trackhouse, all things considered. And I will say that's probably why his schemes looked probably better than the other two, is because Trackhouse has something to say about it. That said, though, I'm thinking C or D.
Yeah, I'd go with C.
Yeah, again, I do love cars that promote music. Just being the music gal myself, I listen to a lot of country, maybe some indie. This was cool. So, speaking of Spire, Hocevar's scheme, I don't even know what to say about this one, so I'm going to collect my thoughts for a second, because I don't want to be too harsh, but what are your thoughts on this one?
I guess I appreciate the combination of having a health system and a minor league baseball team. Strange combination, I'm not sure. Yeah, no. Hocevar really, they gotta help him out, because
they do.
Immense talent, could be a super marketable driver in the sport. I mean, I feel like eventually he's going to end up a Hendrick, I feel like. But regardless, he just has terrible paint schemes.
This is true. It's so difficult when you have a driver as marketable as Carson Hocevar, loved by a lot of fans. I know he might get on the bad side of fans sometimes, but overall loved by fans, active on social media, really nice, fun-loving dude, right? And to market him, you give him really crappy paint schemes. And I'm like, who's going to want to buy his merchandise if his schemes suck? Who's going to want to buy his diecast? Nobody. I would love to buy a Carson Hocevar diecast. The issue is they all look bad. I don't want to put them on my shelf. Again, Spire Motorsports, make the schemes better, please. This one, the only thing I will give it is the orange and the blue and the white do look good together, but nothing works. It's all over the place.
They separated the top from the side again, which I already said I can't stand that. They put the baseball logo in the middle of the left rear tire and just completely cut it in half. And then but then the other one they put on the hood, and it was just it's way too far down.
It doesn't work. I'm going to give it benefit of the doubt in saying that maybe because it was a co-partnership, they had a specific way they wanted this to look, and they wanted a certain way their logos would be on the car. I will give them that, but it's man, you could have compromised and did something a little better.
Yeah, it's just a shame. 77 is a cool number too. There's some numbers that aren't cool, and Hocevar's a cool guy.
Yeah.
Hocevar, I would love to take him to Bourbon Street and get completely annihilated off of those. Have you been to Bourbon Street?
No.
Man, you gotta go. They have these drinks called Grenade, and they put it in they're like this big.
Oh my God.
And it's like a tube, and it's like a icy.
Oh, I'd be gone.
It's called a Grenade.
I'd be gone. One
of them, you're toasted. 2 of them, you're done. 3 of them, you can't remember last night.
Oh no.
Like they are potent.
Oof.
And I would love to go down Bourbon Street and just plow grenades with this guy.
So Carson Osafar, if you're listening, this is your formal invitation, by the way. So RSVP in the comments below. But yeah, I mean, again, such a fun guy. The issue is the schemes don't match. And I feel like there's a lot of paint schemes we have in the F tier right now, but this one's leaning on that. It's just nothing makes sense with this.
Yeah, I think I'll give it D.
D.
You know, just because he's a good guy.
Okay. Because we like Carson Osafar, this scheme's going to get a D. I will say it's not... I'm going to put it towards an F, though. I will put it towards F. Last but not least on our tier list, we're kind of having a full circle moment here. Now, like I said, there are some paint schemes here that we have used twice on this list because there's just nothing worse. And that's the same with this scheme, this time for Daniel Suarez. It's the Jockey man in underwear in the car paint scheme that he had, I believe, at Michigan. I feel like we have to rank it the same here. I don't know, does the number, though, having the 99 versus the 1 make it look better or worse in your opinion?
No, this is a case where I feel like it looks exactly the same.
Yeah, well, because of that, we're going to put it at a C. And as always, when we're done with these lists, we like to go back through, make sure we graded everything fairly. Is there anything, Tyler, on this list that you would want to change before we call it quits here?
I feel really good about this, but this just proves there were a lot of bad paint schemes this year.
I know, like I at least thought we wouldn't have as many in the F category. I'm like, oh, if we're gonna separate out like the worst of the worst, we're gonna have at least more of a variety. This clearly shows that there were a lot of not great ones this year, like you said, and hopefully they take this as a lesson and make the paint schemes better for 2025. And I'm excited to see your paint scheme rankings in 2025 too. Where can people find your content on social media so they make sure to tune in when you rank these?
You can find me and my great, amazing opinions on TikTok at NASCAR Tyler, and to get even worse opinions, Twitter and Instagram at Tyler Pennell _50. Twitter gets pretty crazy, so you might want to follow.
Yeah, definitely follow Tyler on all those platforms. And of course, for more content from us, make sure to follow us at ATYL Media, Above the Line, and go to AboveTheLine.com for all of our content and more about all the awesome content creators we have as part of our show. But Tyler, thanks so much for joining me to rank these paint schemes. I think the opinions definitely helped. This is a solid list, and we'll definitely be checking out your content more in the future.
I appreciate it. Thank you for having me on.
All right, everyone, make sure to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and until next time, we'll see ya. Bye.